A big thank you to all the generous supporters over on Patreon, such as Uncle Stepback and the immortal Remus. Your help has kept to keep this channel going, and it will always be extremely appreciated. Thank all of you so much. How do you feel about the state of the IWC as a whole? Better, worse? How do you think wrestling fans online are doing as a community?
Oh, they're always doing poorly as a community. We can't get along. We just can't. Everyone's so defensive, and it seems like on Twitter/X, it's meltdown mode every day. If anything, it's getting worse. But I find it entertaining. I thrive in that area.
You are amazing with that. I do wish I had your mentality. You know, kind of like what I was saying about Tony Khan before, you know. You got a front row seat to the chaos. You've already popped your popcorn. You're ready to watch the show.
I am. I'm ready to be a part of the show. I will star in the show. I will watch the show. I am happy to be a part of it. But yeah, no, it's toxic. Dumb.
Now that, you know, CM Punk has been fired, the honeymoon period's over and all that, we're a year out. What do you think about how that has affected the IWC? Do you think it's made a difference, or do you think it's pretty much all the same?
I think that it's made AEW fans more defensive, seeing WWE be successful. I think that the Dodgers are always stirring up shit. I think that regardless of what they report, someone will always have an opposite opinion, and it will always be a dumpster fire. But yeah, I think WWE's success and all of the news that comes out about them, and even selling the company, I think that it's made AEW fans even more vicious.
Now, I've recently come to an almost epiphany of my own. I've pretty much avoided almost all dirt sheets at this point. There's only one website I go to periodically, and that's it. Social media, I was never a big social media guy to begin with, but now I've purged myself of all of it. I don't want to know about it. Just leave me alone. I don't want to hear the rumors. Things are a lot better for me now. All the stuff, I don't get to be disappointed. I don't get to hear that something's going to happen, that it doesn't happen. And I'm not getting lied to every day. And the big part that drove me crazy was I felt like I was doing it to myself. I'm only getting lied to because I allowed them to lie to me. I'm living in a world where the dirt sheets flat out lied to me and said that WWE was sold to Saudi Arabia. Untrue. They told me that the fans were turning on Cody Rhodes because he's guilty of not Sami Zayn. I will never let all of you forget that you kept saying that, by the way. I'm going to remind you of that all the time. And that wasn't true. Because right after Cody Rhodes doesn't beat Roman Reigns, oh, Cody should beat Roman Reigns. He should have won. Wait a minute. Weren't you just saying that fans don't like him? You know? All this nonsense, all this crap I've been hearing, all these things that have been reported, not to mention all things that were reported before that turned out to be lies. And now that he's fired, I definitely don't want to hear about what CM Punk had for breakfast and how that means he's coming back or whatever. I don't want to hear this for the next 7 years. I don't want to see all the clickbait that's going to hover around Punk. I want to know, why do you think other people who get aggravated, as you say, as they stir up the shitstorm, why do you think people are still hanging out in the whole online arena that is the internet for wrestling?
Well, part of it, I think they're like me in the sense that they like the chaos, and even those who can't admit that they like the chaos, they're there for a reason. They like the chaos. Secondly, I think it's a habitual thing. I think it's very hard for people to break habits, and they get, especially after going through, you know, the pandemic and stuff, I think people became more connected to their phones than anything. And I think that that's just a habitual thing, so they won't, and they almost can't break away from it. It's like an addiction. Yeah, I think that there's many factors to it. Some people probably don't realize quite how toxic it is. And some people are just willing to eat up everything the dirt sheets say and make excuses. I think those people exist, and those people don't see the IWC for what it is, and they don't see the dirt sheets for what they are, and they worship Dave Meltzer, and they see no issue with that. And that's fine, but you're insane. Like, you're crazy, but that's fine. Be crazy. It's entertaining for me.
Well, like I said, I've always admired your outlook on it. Now, speaking of your outlook, tell me, since last time we talked, since I'm personally entertained by your endeavors on the, no pun intended with the endeavor comment, by your endeavors online. So give me some greatest hits. Tell me, what have you been up to since last time? Who's done what, and what has happened to you?
Well, right before I copped a Twitter suspension for 7 days, I got into an argument with Dave Meltzer, so that was fun.
Tell us the details. What was this argument about? And how did you win it?
He said something stupid. He said something like, someone asked him, why doesn't WWE run Wembley if it's that easy? And Dave Meltzer said, because they don't believe they can. And I was like, I beg your pardon? First thing I do with Dave Meltzer, I always know that he says something that contradicts himself. He does it every time. So I Googled. I was like, Clash at the Castle, Dave Meltzer. And guess what?
Do tell what?
They got offered more money to go to Wales for Clash at the Castle instead of going to London. That was why they did it. It's not a factor of believing whether they can. It's because they want to get paid to go places and they will go for the highest bidder. It's business. So anyway, we got into a debate which was more about semantics because to me, he's a writer and he should be able to write and he should be able to know the connotations of what he writes and how it looks. So we got into a debate back and forth and he kept quote tweeting me and I'm like, why do we have to do this? You're just going to get a bunch of idiots in my comments. Like, why do we have to do this? We went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And eventually he said something and then I said something to the effect of, you're a writer, you should know better, yada, yada, yada. And then my comment to him got more likes than his tweet, openly, and he stopped replying.
I would too if I were him.
So, yeah. And then I was getting DMs for literal days from people, praising me for taking Meltzer to task, because I don't think many people have the patience for that. But my thing is, I'm a parent. I have a lot of patience. A person who writes things for people, so I know that side of things too. And when people do shitty writing and then they have this, fan base which thinks they're a god and takes their opinions as fact, I take issue with that. It's not ethical journalism.
Ethical journalism, what a concept in today's society. Well, now you also did bring up your suspension. Don't leave us without the details. Tell us about that if you don't mind.
Oh, just the standard IWC weird sexism. This actually sprung off Dave Meltzer thing. Some idiot who's been impersonating this big IWC account, Wrestling Humble. This idiot made some really weird comments about my sex life. And I said something to the effect of, you're a loser in a basement like a bitch or something like that. I know I called him a bitch. Anyway, Twitter did not like that and I got suspended for 7 days. But whatever, we live and we learn. I'm being more tactical with my insults to people now.
Yeah, now you gotta try harder.
Yeah, now I have to try harder, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
All right, well, Alyssa, please tell everybody where they can find you and also let them know about anything you want to tell them.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Alyssa, all one word, all lowercase. I'm quite fun on the Twitters. I recently got up to 3,000 followers, and I've been terrorizing every single one of them.
But why, Alyssa, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for being here again. And as always, Dave knows.